Good morning and welcome to the news at 10 on NTA News 24. I am Elizabeth Omori and we are reaching you live on the network service of the NTA.
And I am Patricia Asamiluba. Thanks for joining us. And now the headlines.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo calls for judicial reforms in the selection and appointments of judges.
Northeast governors on security meet a second time in Maiduguri to join forces in tackling challenges bedeviling the region.
The forum pledged to work together to foster regional integration, growth and development, especially in exploitation of its oil and gas potentials.
If you have a strategic reserve, you have somewhere where you can reach into and be able to take care of mass catastrophe, mass disaster.
Federal government to develop and modernize blood transfusion service in Nigeria.
Plus, NCDC announces 473 new cases of COVID-19, bringing total to more than 46,000.
Thank you so much for joining us. We now begin with the judiciary. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has expressed the need for an urgent, honest and frank discussion about judicial reforms, especially the selection and appointment of judges in Nigeria, due to the significant roles judges play in the polity, economy, social justice and democracy. Speaking at the Justice Research Institute virtual roundtable themed Selection and Appointment of Judges, Lessons for Nigeria, the Vice President said the integrity of the judicial system is crucial to everything in society, hence the need for stakeholders to engage in an honest and frank discussion that examines the challenges and prospects. The Vice President, however, noted that it would be unfair to pick out the judiciary alone for reproach for some of the failures in the nation's system of administration of justice. Laulu Akonde, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity in the Office of the Vice President, in a release said those that contributed to the discussion include the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, Senate President Ahmed Lawan, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. Justices from the Supreme Court and Court of Appeal from within and outside the country also spoke at the webinar.
The second meeting of the Northeast Governors Forum has ended in Maiduguri with a resolve to, among other things, work with the federal government to tackle security challenges bedeviling the region, as well as produce a comprehensive strategic master plan to ensure sustainable development in collaboration with the Northeast Development Commission. Mohammed Goni tells us more.
The meeting by the Forum of Northeast Governors was a follow-up to the first one held in March this year in Gombe, hosted by Governor Inuwa Yahaya. Present at the Maiduguri meeting were governors of Adamawa, Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri, Bauchi Bala Mohammed, and Gombe Mohammed Inuwa Yahaya, while Taraba and Yobe were represented by their deputy governors. Chairman Borno State Governor Professor Wagana Umara had laid emphasis on security challenges facing the region, problems of unemployment, over-dependence on federal allocation, and how to move the region forward. The governors, in addition to discussing security and development issues, also received presentation from the Northeast Development Commission, Lafarge Ashaka, the NNPC, the Zone 15 Nigerian Police Force, and the Nigerian Army. Before the Maiduguri meeting, a technical committee comprising secretaries of government from the 6 states and focal persons from the Northeast Development Commission had deliberated for 4 days to come up with an agenda. As part of the 11-point communique issued at the end of Maiduguri deliberations, Borno State Governor Professor Wagana Umara was nominated as chairman to lead for 2 years, with Maiduguri as headquarters. The forum had urged the federal government to support the armed forces and the Nigerian police with modern military hardware and manpower to secure the zone and defeat the insurgents.
The forum pledged to work together to foster regional integration, growth and development, especially in exploitation of its oil and gas potentials, mineral resources, agriculture and industrialization. The forum called on the federal government to revoke selected roads contracts awarded by Federal Ministry of Works for years without progress and re-award them to more competent contractors and firms to ensure timely completion.
The next meeting comes up on the 7th November 2020 in Yola, Adamawa State. In Maiduguri, Muhammad Goni, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammad Buhari has nudged cadets of the direct short service courses 29 of the Nigerian Air Force to be resolute in their commitment towards protecting the territorial integrity of Nigeria.
This is contained in this message to passing out cadets in Kaduna. Abdullahi Muhammad reports.
Orders, precision, discipline and agility, the symptoms of a world-class military training which these young cadets of the Nigerian Air Force underwent in the last 6 months. The arrival of the reviewing officer in a Scottish manner set the ball rolling for the passing out parade. Inspection of the parade by the Chief of Defense Staff in place of Mr. President and a challenge to the officers to go the extra mile in the discharge of their responsibility.
I expect that you will do your best to further enhance Nigerian Air Force efforts towards boosting quality health care for personnel.
The 114 cadets who passed out comprise of professionals in the field of human and animal medicine, nursing as well as logistics. They were subsequently adorned with their ranks and set for a new vista in their lives after taking an oath of allegiance. In Kaduna, Abdullahi Muhammad, NTA News.
And still talking security, the National Assembly has acknowledged efforts of the military in anti-banditry operations in the northwest zone of the country.
This is coming on the heels of the oversight visit to the Nigerian Army Super Camp in Faskari, Katsina State by the Senate Committee on Army. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Activities of bandits, kidnappers and cattle rustlers disrupting socio-economic life in the northwest geopolitical zone of the country has forced the military to delve into internal security to stem the tide. Exercise Sahel Sanity, organized by the Nigerian Army, which later transformed to real-time security operation, is one of such that is said to have recorded a lot of success. This has prompted the Senate and House of Representatives committees on Army to embark on fact-finding mission to the Nigerian Army Super Camp 4 Faskari in Katsina State. Chairman of the committees, Senator Muhammad Ali Ndume and Abdulrazak Namdas, were briefed on some of the achievements of the ongoing operation that includes the rescue of 48 kidnapped victims, elimination of 81 and arrest of 78 bandits.
The Army has done a good job.
Armed with first-hand information, the legislators expressed their opinions on the operations to the media.
I have no cause to panic because farming activities is going on. The successes recorded in terms of arrest, recovery, and other activities is very, very commendable. I am very confident that this issue of banditry in the Northwest is almost now a history.
For just a month, I think the Nigerian Army has recorded a lot of successes.
The special advisor to the Katsina State Governor on security was on a similar mission to the camp, where he pledged that the state government will continue to support the efforts of the military.
The security operations deserve commendation, deserve applause, and we are mobilizing members of the public to come to the aid of the military by giving them information. They should not shield the criminals.
The lawmakers also commended the high level of ingenuity in the Nigerian Army and promised to improve funding to the military from the Nigerian Army Super Camp 4 in Faskari, Katsina State. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And still talking security, in a bid to tackle the influx of bandits suspected to be from neighboring countries into some parts of Niger State. Governor Abubakar Sani Bello has rekindled discussion with the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Ekwe Ibas, on the establishment of Shaguno Naval Base in Borgo local government area of the state. The governor visited the Chief of Naval Staff recently as part of his unrelenting efforts at ensuring the security of lives and property of the people. To ensure a vibrant naval base, the state government is working on the provision of basic infrastructure and social amenities such as road, water and power, among others. The governor expressed the hope that the presence of a naval base in Shaguno will improve the socio-economic activities of the area and serve as a security check to transnational crime, as it is a border area with other West African countries. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Ekwe Ibas, assured the governor that the issue will be revisited with a view to expedite action towards the establishment of the naval base in the state, while commending the governor for his proactiveness towards ensuring the safety of lives and property.
And Nasarawa state government says it will sustain strengthening partnership with security agencies to address their challenges of infrastructure development for the protection of lives and property.
Governor Abdullahi Sule stated this while inspecting construction work of the mobile police training school close to Akwanga. Aliu Tijani Mohammed reports.
The school will serve as another training ground to equip officers and men of the mobile police force with requisite skills and knowledge to tackle crimes and criminalities. Governor Abdullahi Sule says citing the training school in Ndehu will end cases of robbery and kidnapping along the Akwanga-Lafia road.
When the police decided that they were going to site a project for the plateaus, and we have a couple of them in Nasarawa State, they did not select this particular spot. It is Nasarawa State government that selected this particular spot, which is in Nasarawa Igor local government area. This place used to be notorious, as I have mentioned, not only for accidents that have taken place, but for kidnapping and armed robbery. If you remember, this was the same hill last year where the deputy governor of the state was attacked by armed robbers.
Work in the school is nearing completion with inauguration expected in the coming weeks. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
And still from Nasarawa State, a State Action Plan Committee adopting United Nations templates to end gender-based violence and promote peace has gone to work with the inauguration by the Nasarawa State government. From Lafia, Aliu Tijani Mohammed reports.
The UN Action Plan Against Gender-Based Violence has Action Aid and other NGOs championing the initiative as Nasarawa joins 11 other states.
We are willing to continue to work with the state government to ensure that every woman, every girl in Nasarawa State is liberated from the influence and effect of violent extremism and increase sustainable development.
The UN SRCR 1325 was a landmark resolution which affirmed the important role of women in prevention and resolution of conflict.
Governor Abdullahi Sule says all forms of crime against women and children must stop.
This was the first official document from the Security Council that was women's rights and necessary support to participate in peace resolution as well as protect them against war and sexual violence.
He says the state government will give adequate support to the committee to succeed, as he urged stakeholders to support the campaign. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA at 10 o'clock, reaching you live from the network service of the NTA. Still ahead.
Federal government to develop and modernize blood transfusion service in Nigeria. Details of these and more when we return after the break. Thanks for staying with us. Now to electoral matters. The All Progressives Congress has expressed joy over the support the people of Edo State have extended to the party's National Campaign Council during Saturday's campaign flag-off of the party's governorship candidates, Pastor Usaige Izeyamu and running mate Gani Audu, ahead of the September 19 governorship election in the state. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
APC, in a statement by its Deputy National Publicity Secretary, Yekini Nabena, says Edo electorate has sent a clear message on the governor's direction of the state, a progressive one which puts the people's welfare and interest first. The party particularly thanks the Oba of Benin, Oba Ewaye II, for the very warm reception and hospitality His Royal Majesty extended to the party's leaders during the courtesy visit to the palace. The statement also expressed gratitude to President Muhammadu Buhari for endorsing the APC governorship candidate, Pastor Osage Ize-Iyamo, and charged the APC leadership to embark on issue-based campaign and win Edo State governorship election using all legal and constitutional means by avoiding the pitfalls that affected the party's victory in Rivers, Zamfara, and Bayelsa states during and after the 2019 elections. This the APC promised to achieve with a new and positive party disposition under the Governor Mimala Buni-led APC caretaker committee, while promoting Pastor Osage Ize-Iyamo's 6-point agenda of security, infrastructural development, manpower development, public-private partnership, leadership and employment creation. Meanwhile, Director General of the Progressive Governors Forum, Lukman Mohammed, has appealed to the patriotic Nigerians and stakeholders of the All Progressives Congress to support the Mimala Buni-led caretaker committee. In a statement, the Progressive Governors Forum's DG says APC is the only political party with the potential of promoting progressive politics in Nigeria and wants measures that will promote seamless political contest within the party as a way to promote healthy political contest. As the APC moves towards having a national convention to elect new leaders, now is the time to collectively transform the party into a masses-oriented one with expanded membership, developing relationship with organized interest groups. The statement added. Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
The national body of the Nigerian Medical Association has condemned the Enugu State branch election that took place recently for being marred with crisis. Hamman Jabani reports that a 3-man committee has been set up to investigate the causes.
On the 6th of August, Enugu State branch election of Nigerian Medical Association was disrupted by talks that resulted in bloody harm inflicted on many of its members. The national body says it does not reflect the behavior and attitudes of the Nigerian doctors.
While the association appreciates the passion of members and the desire to be actively involved in its activities, including the electoral process across the country, it is instructive to know that as the foremost professional body, we will not tolerate any act of violence and ugly behaviors in whatever form, and therefore what happened in Enugu is totally condemned in its entirety.
To address the situation, a 3-man fact-finding committee was set up to, among other things, investigate the immediate and remote causes that led to the disruption of the 2020 Enugu State NMA election, identify those involved in the disruption, and recommend actions to be taken to avert future occurrence. The committee has 2 weeks to submit its report. The body, however, commended the peaceful elections in the over 20 states where elections were conducted and apologized for the situation in Enugu State branch election. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Still on electoral matters, sadly, election-related violence has been a feature in Nigeria like other countries. They are often, if not always, accompanied by extreme malpractices. Of recent, this has taken another dimension, cutting across not just the political terrain, but ethnic, religious, professional and regional divisions, all to gain political advantage. In fact, fueling community tension, even targeting their rivals and supporters are not far-fetched. So joining us now via Skype to deepen this conversation on the ugly trend of election malpractices is Dr. Aminu Hayatu of the Department of Political Science, Bayero University, Kano. Doctor, it's nice to have you join us on the news.
It's nice to have you. Thank you.
So much. Now, the knock on the effects of the credibility of Nigeria's political process is hard to understate. Why is election still considered a do-or-die affair in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you once again. And I think to be able to say something about this nature of violent elections in Nigeria, we have to actually look at the things holistically rather than a narrow view of it. If you realize the political space in Nigeria today is increasingly being expanded. And of course, by virtue of that, what it means is that more issues are coming on board. And the increasing politicization of issues has also affected the way and manner in which the conduct of elections in our country, and particularly that of associations, is being held. If you look at it, initially, when there wasn't wide democratic space, the issues that arise from that are not much of concern to the public. But today, because of the fact that political parties are increasingly becoming interested in things that are happening in other organs of the public space, makes it more complicated and makes it problematic. Now, what we see is that during this election, especially if you look at what happened for example, the election of Nigerian Bar Association, there were issues and allegations regarding the fact that some political parties have interest in the elections, and that has affected the free and fair nature of the election that it was supposed to be. So also other subsequent elections that held even previously in 2019 and what we are seeing today in 2020. So this absorbed of that catastrophe.
Okay, Dr. Hayatu, the next question. What are the strategies and measures needed to prevent violence in any situation?
All right, we seem to have lost a signal with the doctor. I mean, we'll get back to him shortly after the break. Stay with us.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Okay, we still have Dr. Hayatu via Skype. Dr. Hayatu, what are the strategies and measures needed to prevent violence in any situation?
There isn't any special strategy, as you may wish to call it, that need to be put in place. The simple thing is that Nigeria is operating a democratic system which has got its rules and regulations governing the proper conduct of public affairs and elections. So if we are to really experience what may be called free and fair election and a better democratic space, we need to make sure that all the institutions that are put in place that have the responsibility to ensure the free flow of these political activities are actually discharging their activities. What we see now is all these associations are not operating out of a vacuum. They're operating within a state. And it is the responsibility of that state to ensure that things are done properly and conducted in a manner that would be called, elections would be called free and fair. So the associations themselves must always remember that the public are looking at them as examples of those associations that would even check the excesses of government when it goes wrong, when it does anything against the interests of the public. So when the elections are conducted in such manner the signal it's sending to the public is that everything is wrong, with the integrity of these associations, and the problem may actually escalate to affect the political culture of this country. And also, the government itself and the political parties have a role to play here, because largely what we are seeing today is the influence of political parties, is the infiltration of some important personal advantage of political parties, trying to influence these elections so that it can actually favor them in some way. So individuals have to be responsible, have to...
We apologize for that break. All right, we'll just move on to health-related matters. The federal government is working to develop and modernize blood transfusion service in Nigeria to be spearheaded by a blood service commission, which will operate as a ready blood reserve for the country.
Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Hanire, said this at the annual strategic health meeting with National Blood Transfusion Service. Basi Ita-Ikwan reports.
The importance of blood transfusion service in the health system of a country cannot be overemphasized, as it would reduce the high rate of mortality during childbirth.
A number of people are looking for blood transfusion. Where are you going to get it? So if you have a strategic reserve, you have somewhere where you can reach into and be able to take care of mass catastrophe, mass disaster. Good idea.
The National Coordinator, National Blood Transfusion Service, shared the challenges and prospects of the service.
Nigerians to voluntarily donate blood. We want to make sure that we have 1 million pints of safe blood reserved at any point in time, and this safe blood can be called upon by the Minister of Health or the President when there's a crisis.
Commercialization of the blood service industry also came to the fore, with the hope that with the population of young people, the country has a pool of donors that will meet global demand for blood, and the commission would be self-sustaining but highly revenue-generating. Basi Taikman, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA News 24. More to come when we return. Stay with us.
For now,
NTA, you can't beat the reach.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can't beat the reach.
There is a lot of fake news and report circulating, especially on social media, on the coronavirus. Do not believe or partake in the spread of these fake reports. If it is not on the official website or news from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disregard such report. Only together can we beat this virus. Only together can we overcome this pandemic. Follow the instructions and guidelines provided to combat this virus. Most importantly, stay at home. Self-isolate, regardless of your status. The virus doesn't move unless we move. Let us work together to better Nigeria. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.